Hey everybody, the greatest goblin that ever lived, Blugoblin, is here with another comic book review for this week of July 2015. I want to thank y'all for joining me here. Hopefully this will be out on time, but if not, oh well. And pardon, you have to bear with me here. I'm shooting this upstairs for this particular review, and it is kind of warm up here, so pardon me if I look a little sweaty. I'd say this was actually a pretty good week for comic books, actually. However, surprisingly enough, I only got one Marvel book this week. I got one from IDW, and the rest are all from DC. So let's go ahead and start with the Marvel. We'll start Marvel and end Marvel this week. The sole Marvel book is Uncanny X-Men number 35. First of all, do not buy that cover. This cover does nowhere in this book does this happen, and it really irks me sometimes when you see a cover to a book and you're like, oh, I can't wait to see this, and you open it up and it has nothing to do with what you see on the cover. You see Scott and Emma about ready to come to blows, and they're nowhere to be seen in this book at all. This issue is a focus on Gold Balls, one of the young new X-Men who was trained by Scott and Emma. This is a focus on him. He's gaining popularity. You know, they're all saying Poink is the new Thwip. I would think Poink is the new Bamf if you want to stick X-Men related. But, you know, it's good to see the young, fresh, new characters get a spotlight, get an issue to showcase them, their powers and everything. I thought this was really well handled. You get to see these young X-Men, and you know, when I first read it, I thought they were just having like a daydreaming sequence or a training sequence. No, they're actually out patrolling the streets, taking on villains and stuff like that. This was actually really good, but at the end of the day, these kids get a bad wake-up call. Remember, at the end of the day, what are you? You are mutants, and how is humanity's relationship with mutants? Exactly. They get a rude reawakening on how bad it still is between some mutants and humans and everything, and of course they turn to the one place they need to turn to for true help, and that's the Jean Grey School. This was fun. This was really good. I really enjoyed it. Not bad. It is what it is. I give it a 3.5. Alright, we're going to IDW. It's happened, folks. I caved in. I'm jumping on board with My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, number 32. This is my official start on point. The storyline is called Night of the Apples. So delicious, so terrifying. You know, I kind of want to kick myself for waiting so long to finally jump on board with this series. I just reviewed, and if you go to my Blugoblin X channel, there's a review for the Fiendship is Magic storyline where I talked briefly about that. And now, here's my first look at the Friendship is Magic series, and I gotta admit, this was actually really good. Yeah, I'll admit it. I watched My Little Pony. I watched that cartoon. It's fun. It's a fun cartoon. It's got great characters, good story development, good plot direction, and it's got jokes in there that actually make me laugh. And this felt like an episode of the show. I mean, this was actually really good. You know, you got these apples that are cursed. They're trying to take over Ponyville. One of the first ones to suffer for it is Applejack, my favorite pony out of the main six. And she's one of the first ones to suffer, and you know, the apples have completely taken over Ponyville. They try some espionage. Twilight turns Pinky into an apple to spy on things, see how things are developing. That doesn't work, so they go to a much more drastic measure concerning Fluttershy, and I'm not going to spoil what that was. This was fun, and was just fun as hell. I loved it. Thought it was great. You know, shoot me. I like My Little Pony. What the fuck ever. This was really good. I thought it was a solid read. I enjoyed it. I'm glad I jumped on board with this. I give it a 4. Alright, now we're going to DC. Starting DC off with Aquaman number 42, Arthur Curry, World Slayer. Look, I get it. I get it. Cullen Bunn has got a lot to measure up to. The two previous writers of this series did such a phenomenal job with this. It's kind of tough. It's kind of a tough act to follow. But at the same time, I have to think to myself, this series is starting to lose me. First of all, you gave Arthur a new look that was completely unnecessary. You're just trying to capitalize off how he may look in the movies. I'm getting really frustrated with comic books nowadays. They've got this mindset now that when you see how a character looks in the movies, or how a character's gonna look in the movies, they now all of a sudden have this mindset like, okay, that's how they gotta look in the comic books too. I like the separation between the comics and the movies. I like the fact that the movies have the movie perspective of the heroes have their own unique look. It doesn't have to match the goddamn comic book. It's bad enough they're doing it with the Flash. The Flash now has a costume that looks like the suit from the CW series. Why? What's the purpose? What's the point? It's how I feel with Arthur's new look. What's the purpose? What purpose does this new look serve? Is there any long-term, any long-term reasoning, or did they just do it to differentiate what happened then and what happened now? I don't get it. I really don't. I don't get unnecessary changes to a character's look. Wonder Woman's change, I got that. This, I'm not feeling it. And with Arthur, apparently they're building up this big confrontation between him and Mara. The writing's on the wall, folks. DC is splitting Arthur and Mara up, whether we fucking like it or not. I don't fucking like it. It's more of that bullshit garbage that the comic book companies tend to spew, saying superheroes shouldn't be in relationships because they're better off loners. So what if they're in a relationship? Doesn't change anything. If anything, it gives them more of a reason to be a fighting hero. You take that happiness away from them, what do they got left to fight for? I don't get it. I really don't get it. But this is building up to something nice, and hopefully it is a nice, once we get there, it'll work. But for right now, I'm just not feeling it as much as I feel like I should be. But I'm just gonna have to give this a 3. Barely above average. Hey, baby. Thought I heard you coming up here. Alright, moving on to Batman 66, number 25, Night of the Harlequin. Yeah, finally get the big arrival of Harley Quinn in the Adam West verse, if you will. But nice. I like what they do with Harley Quinn. They don't actually call her Harley Quinn. It's read as Harlequin. Her name is Holly Quinn instead of Harleen Quinzel. There is some tweaks. There is some differences in the character, and plus the way she's drawn in the actual book itself, she kind of appears a bit older than other incarnations of Harley Quinn are. She looks like she's in her. If they do a close-up on her face, she looks like she's in her early to mid-30s a little bit. Maybe she's younger than that. I don't know. It's just the way she's drawn. But overall, a really good story. And I loved her crime scene. She's like robbing banks, stealing pizzas, and she dared to rip a "Do Not Remove" tag off a couch. It's so stupid, so hilarious. I loved it. The second story, the whole Mad Men parody, which is way late in my opinion, because Mad Men is they should have done this kind of parody a long time ago, but it involves Barbara Gordon, and she has to come up with a way to deal with the Joker, Penguin, Riddler, and Catwoman without being able to turn into Batgirl. Not bad. This was actually not that bad. I enjoyed it for what it was. I give it a 3.5. Cookie. Nice, thank you, baby. Excuse me. Moving on to Cyborg number 1. First of all, love Ivan Reyes' artwork. I never get tired of that. However, the writing from Walker, I've seen stuff like this before, where the main character feels completely ignored by some of the supporting characters. I guess they're going for more of a dramatic beginning to this series, and I'm fine with that. It's just, I've seen this kind of storytelling done several times before, and it's not anything original. But I'll take it for what it is. I thought it was a solid beginning. We learned more about Cyborg and how he's still coming to grips with being more machine than man and everything. Overall, not a really strong beginning to the series, but I have faith that this series will get better over time. You know, Cyborg was one of my first superheroes when I was a little kid, and I'm willing to give him a chance and see where they can go with this. For a first issue, pretty good, not overwhelmingly solid, but still a decent read. I give it a 3.5. What am I going to be throwing the Joker at me here? Moving on to Flash number 42. Like I said before, why does the Flash's outfit have to look like his outfit from the CW? You know, that distinct uniqueness is no longer there when it comes to looks. But this was actually really good. The Sins of the Father. Fucking fantastic writing. This is good stuff. Loved it. You know, Flash is, you know, being told that his dad helped organize the prison break. He just refuses to believe it. I love you, baby. Best photobomb ever. Where was I? Oh yeah. Barry's being told about his father's organizing the breakout in the prison, and he just refuses to accept it. It's that felt good. He just refuses to accept it. He's like, it's my dad, he can't possibly do it. And then we get to see Eobard Thawne, the true Reverse Flash, in here. And the shit he does in here, my God, this was good. This was really good. I really dug this issue, and I'm just drooling in anticipation for Flash versus Reverse Flash. I can't wait to see this. This was a solid read, and give it an easy 4. Moving on to Harley Quinn and Power Girl number 2. Connor and Palmiotti, they do what they're doing here. Still going with that cutesy wootsy funny one-y, you know, style of storytelling that's made Harley Quinn work for so long. I don't think this particular mini-series is as strong as the regular ongoing Harley Quinn series. I really don't think so. But they do their best efforts to make it seem like that this is worth your time and worth your money and worth reading. And I give them props for that. The artwork was amazing. And of course, Harley Quinn steals the show with all her banter and all her stuff like that. But we're also introduced to another group of heroes in here that are the ex-girlfriends, that are all the ex-girlfriends of the person they're trying to rescue. And one of them is a guy. Hey, whatever floats your boat. That's all I gotta say. But I thought the cliffhanger at the end was nicely done. Really, really well detailed. It's Connor Palmiotti doing this. It still works for them. Maybe not what they're doing with Starfire, but with this, with Harley, with Power Girl, it still works. So I thought it was good for what it was, and I give it a 3.5. Pick of the week time, folks. You thought My Little Pony and Flash was good? Justice League Gods and Monsters Batman number 1. To think, I almost skipped this book, and I'm very glad I didn't. I'm glad I picked this up and read it. Oh my God, this was outstanding. yes, it's got that same stereotypical dark and gritty style of storytelling that comes with Batman books nowadays, but my God, this was amazing. This was really good. It had me gripped from beginning to end. I physically could not put this book down when I was reading it. I was so engaged. I was so gripped with it. It was so well done, so well put together. Minor spoiler here, this is not Bruce Wayne. For those of you who are new to this Gods and Monsters storyline, for those of you who are wanting to get intrigued with this is Dr. Kirk Langstrom as Batman, and man, this was simply amazing. This was so good, fucking awesome. I loved every bit of it. The drama, the action, the twists, the swerves, everything worked for me. I loved it. A 4.5. We're ending this review with Wonder Woman number 42. Finch and Finch continuing to do their goodness on here. Diana tries to find time for some leisure time. And even then, shit's catching up with her and she's got to go back to work. And we find out more about the boy who's been trying to get at her here lately. Turns out he's a descendant of Poseidon, and he's frustrated, he's arrogant, he's very cocky, he's brash, he's stupid, he wants to be a god. Yeah, and he wants to take out Diana because he thinks it'll prove something, you know, whatever. Meanwhile, you got the stuff going on with Donna Troy, and what happens at the end of this book was really gripping, really good. I'm loving this series. So far, Wonder Woman has been magnificent. In my opinion, one of the best titles going on DC shelves right now. This was really good. I give it a 4. Well, that's all I got for this review, everybody. I want to thank y'all for joining me, and thank you to my girlfriend for the nice cookie and the sweet kiss. Let me know what y'all thought about these books. Post some comments, post your opinions, send me some feedback. What you think of these books? Did you like them? Did you hate them? You know, subscribe to this channel, subscribe to Blugoblin X. Don't forget Arkham Asylum Studio. Follow me on Twitter, Tumblr, Pinterest, Facebook, or stick with me here on YouTube. Don't forget my buds, TheMtVernonKid, Deadpoolzilla, Brandon Hex. Thanks for watching, everybody. I am Groot. See y'all later.